Good morning. This is the Unity Center of Pittsburgh. I welcome you. My name is Bobbi Konefal-Shaer, and I'll be your service leader today. And today we have with us our wonderful musicians, Marco Reed and Milo Shadell, and our speaker today who will be speaking on What's My Vibe, a little bit later, is Maryann Hackworth. So we have so much in store for you. I welcome you, and I wanted to just let you know that many people think of unity as coming home. We hear it pretty often when newcomers come. They say, oh, when I came to Unity, I felt like finally I was home. So we welcome you to home today for this service, and we hope it feels good and touches those places in you that ignite your spiritual center, the real you-ness, what you're really about. So let's start with a song.
Wash away my troubles, wash away my pain with the rain and Shambhala. Wash away my sorrow, wash away my shame with the rain and Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone is helpful, everyone is kind on the road to Shambhala. Everyone is lucky, everyone is so kind on the road to Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in I can tell my sister by the flowers in her hair on the road to Shambhala. I can tell my brother by the flowers in his hair on the road to Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Tell me, how does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Yeah, ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
We're all on the road, aren't we? We're all on the road to that goodness of who we really are. And of course, our light is shining as long as we give it the air that it needs to shine and grow and bloom and blossom. So, I'd like to share with you now our vision and our mission here at Unity Center of Pittsburgh. For we envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. And our mission, we are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. And in Unity, we also know, believe in, of course, but we know that prayer works. It truly does. And so let us get a little quiet and affirm the truth about today, here and now. On such a wondrous day as this, we are reminded of the infinite beauty of the world, the promise, and the infinite nature of God. Let us take a moment to remember the infinite beauty, the wondrousness, and the power of that God as it works through us. For we embody the same Spirit. And we remember this as often as we can. It is our prayer. It is our banner. And so it is. As a symbol, just an outward symbol, but something that we do as human beings from time to time, and here at the center we do it every week. We light a candle, a single flame that for us symbolizes that Christ spirit within. We call it the Unity Christ candle. And we remember to let our light shine as it's reminding us that we, as it, has a lot of potential for light. And as we watch that flame, let us say together our unity principles. God is the source and creative power. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. Are we ready? Our next song is People Get Ready.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and boredom. There's hope for all among those of the most. So people get ready, there's a train coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Unity does a publication called The Daily Word. Many people are familiar with it. I've known about it since I was a little girl when they used to do the TV commercials. I remember being a little one, Charlton Heston came on once, and I knew who he was. He was almost God. And he was on at that little break between my mother's first story and her second story. I don't know, they don't do that anymore. They don't put it on TV anymore. But they used to, and it was something inside me. I listened to these famous people say, and the daily word is, and then say what the word is. So here we go. The daily word for today, August 27th, 2023, is world peace. I join with others to build a peaceful world. That's our affirmation. The world's problems can feel so overwhelming and its needs so great that I may wonder how my individual efforts could make much of a difference. But every action I take can contribute to world peace. I remember that there are people throughout the world who feel the way I do. So many are doing what they can to bring light and love to their neighborhoods and their communities. I feel comforted realizing that I am not alone in my efforts. Peace begins with each person and inspires others as it spreads, uniting all the world's people to live and thrive in harmony and cooperation. We are meant to live in peace. I hold that vision and offer compassionate service as a way to make my dream for the world a reality for all of us. I hold that vision and offer compassionate service as a way to make my dream for world peace a reality for all of us. And from the words of Paul to the Romans, 14:19, Let us then pursue what makes for peace and for mutual upbuilding. And our affirmation for the day, and we'll say it 3 times. With me, I join with others to build a peaceful world. I join with others to build a peaceful world. I join with others to build a peaceful world. And can you imagine being a child in this peaceful world? Well, that is our vision, yes? Let's hold it for every child that we know, every child we can envision. There are children, of course, we know this is true, in war-torn areas who perhaps are not in stable environments and who see terror around them. Let us see relief happening. Let us see nourishing food and kind and good adults who will act as their way showers. The same is true for all of our children. Let them have the food, the nourishment, the education, the mentors that they need. We envision that this is so, for we have a real vision toward the future, and we see it coming true in the lives of those children and all children, and the children that we really are inside. And so it is. We'll be gathering next our intentions for ourselves and our friends. And so I ask you to think of what they are. We'll be having a bit of a song and then a pause in that song when we kind of verbalize or think through our intentions with this prayer. Can we start that song since it works so well? Thank you.
Opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening.
As we open our hearts to join with one another, as we pray for each other and ourselves, we see health and healing in ourselves and in our community, particularly in our community this day. If we feel the need for prosperity, we see it becoming fulfilled. We see right and perfect employment and fulfillment of dreams and opportunities. We know all of this is possible, for God said, "Wherever 2 or more are gathered, I am there." So I invite you to bring your own intentions to this sacred space, and let us pray with them and through them, and move them along in the fulfillment of the word. For whatever you ask for in my name, I am there.
I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love, light of the one I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening.
Quiet space. Let us get quiet and move into a meditation time. Meditation is that time when, unlike prayer, where we are talking to God, prayer is God talking to us. So we get our bodies quiet. I invite you to feel the settlement of your body in this chair. Perhaps your feet are flat on the floor. On the next inhale, feel the Spirit moving inside you and let out with the exhale all the tension that you brought to this place. Perhaps with the next inhale, make your spine straight and full, and then on the exhale, settle into this place in the here and the now. For we are wondrous beings, endowed with so much, endowed with anything we can imagine. We know it is God's pleasure to give us the keys to the kingdom. It is our job to cut out the distractions and the busyness and the dizziness. Even the to-do list sometimes gets in our way from knowing our good. So as you inhale and exhale, feel the relaxation of this moment flow through you. Let the tension go away. As we seek to commune with that power within us. For the infinite power of God exists in every moment. Available, here for the taking. The infinite peace is here for us, here for the taking. Infinite thoughts and ideas, solutions that we never thought of. Here in the silence for the taking. And as we quiet our thoughts, we know that God speaks to us, sometimes in words, sometimes in whole thoughts, sometimes as an inspiration, sometimes as something a friend will say. All we need to do is get our own thinking, our busy thoughts out of the way. So as we ready for a moment of silence, let us remember that in God, out of whom we are fashioned, we are made perfect, whole, peaceful, and united with one another in the silence for a moment now. And as we inhale and approach coming back into this room and into the here and now of our lives, let us resolve to go to this quiet place more often, more and more on our own, to quiet our busy minds, to release the upset, to let go of the confusion, and to drink in the everlasting peace that's always available. For from the infinite, God has called us to be true seekers of who we really are. And when we are being our best selves, as Aristotle said, that's when we are the happiest. So I invite you back to this room, to the here and now of today, to this room, to your life here at the Unity Center of Pittsburgh, where we're so grateful to have you. And I want to remind you that this service was created for you, for each and every one of you, whether you're here in our room or whether you're at home listening and watching. We seek to have the tidbit that will exactly inspire. And we know not everything we do or say or sing or let out into the universe is not perfect, but there's something here that will inspire each one of us, and that's our prayer and our intention. So with that in mind, please remember when it's time for the offering that we've designed this for you, and please be generous. And now I'm really pleased and excited and a little wondering, no. Do we have a song? Oh, I'm sorry, of course we have a song. Of course we have a song.
But it might not be the wildflowers you're expecting. Oh, no, it's okay.
The hills were alive with wildflowers, and I was as wild, even wilder than they. Well, at least I could run. They just died in the sun, and I refused to just wither in place. Just a wild mountain rose needed freedom to grow, so I ran, fearing not where I'd go. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they go. The flowers I knew in the fields where they grew were content to be lost in the ground. They were common and close. I had no room for growth, and I wanted so much to branch out. So I uprooted myself from my home ground and left, took my dreams and I took to the road. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. Grew up fast and wild, and I never felt right in a garden so different from me. I just never belonged. I just longed to be gone. So the garden one day set me free. I hitched a ride It can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. Just a wild mountain rose, seeking mysteries untold. No regret for the path that I chose. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they go.
And now it's time for our own Maryann Hackworth to tell us about what's my vibe. Huh, let's do it.
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So nice to be here. I feel honored, as always, to be in your presence and to be able to share a message with you and to hear the beautiful sounds from Mariko and Mila. I just love that song. Isn't it the truth? You're all wildflowers, right? And I love that lyric that there's no regret in the path. Yeah, we just move through life and we grow and expand. And that's what I'm hoping to convey today as I give you this message entitled, What's My Vibe? I always like to start by telling you where the inspiration came from. And so one morning, this wasn't long ago, a few weeks back, I was sitting out on my patio having my morning coffee. And it was a particularly noisy morning because there was a lot of bird activity. You know, and there were all these different birds that were flying in the distant trees and in the trees that were close to my property right on the edge. And I was listening and just like wondering, I wonder who that is. I wonder what bird made that call. And I have to tell you, a friend of mine, about a month ago, we went camping, and she told me that there's an app called Merlin. And it's a free app, and you can put it on your phone, and you can hold your phone in the air, and it will tell you instantly what birds are whistling. It was, yeah, and she demonstrated it. It was incredible, you know? So I was sitting on this patio, my patio, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I should download that app, right? I could find out instantly what birds are calling. And then I was like, well, I don't like to start my day with a phone. I truly don't. And that would force me to bring my phone, and then I'd probably get caught up in knowledge. I have to know what bird is speaking at this moment. I thought, maybe I'll just sit. Maybe I'll just allow the birds to be singing their song to me and accept that they have each an individual voice, right? So I'm sitting more, and then I thought, I wonder what my sound is. What's my voice say? What do I speak? What vibration do I bring into the world? When I step into a room full of people, or when I go out shopping, or when I'm at work, what's my sound? Am I that blue jay? Because the blue jay, he makes an announcement, he or she, whoever. I mean, they're constantly saying, I have arrived, I have arrived. And all the other birds are all on a Twitter, and it just seems like there's always a lot going on with the jays when the jays show up, right? Am I that blue jay? Am I that turtle dove that's just like gently, like a flute? I can't even do it. They're like a little flute sound, and they're so calming. I'm like, well, maybe I could be that. I could be the turtle dove. Maybe I'm a piece of all of it. Maybe my sounds vary. Maybe depending on my mood and my circumstances, maybe I am an encapsulated sound production, as the filmers would say, right? We're all multiple personalities within ourselves. But that's what this message is going to be about. The questions that I asked myself: what's my vibe? What's my sound? What do I bring into this world? How do I facilitate the energy of the room by my presence? This is all called self-reflection. Self-reflection is something that Unity talks a lot about. It is a practice that we have, right? To understand the mind, to understand where we're coming from, will assist us in growth, to change our mind, to be who we fully want to be, right? So when I ask myself, am I the truth? Am I speaking the truth that lies in my heart as love? Or am I that noisy gong, that clanging cymbal? St. Paul was mentioning that, right? In the letter to the Corinthians, he said, if I speak in tongues of men and angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. You know, that reminds me of walking the talk. We can know principles. We can recite the principles like we do every Sunday and affirm that we are divine expressions of God. And yet when we step out, when the rubber meets the road, then what? Am I going to be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal? Am I going to possess this knowledge, this intellect, these spiritual ideals simply in my mind, simply in my head, and not be them, not act them out? That's self-reflection. That's what the Fillmores were talking about. Charles Fillmore, it's funny that you mentioned earlier Aristotle and the Greeks, because he said this, this is Charles Fillmore, our most important study is in our own mind. Not only the intellectual mind, but the spiritual mind. Know thyself was inscribed on the temple of Apollo at Delphi, and it must be inscribed on our own temple over the door of our mind. So exploring and really going deep in the moment, compassionately going into the moment, and studying our own mind is so important for us to be spiritual beings, to manifest spiritual teachings. Charles Fillmore said this, a key to God mind is with everyone. It is the action of the individual mind. Humankind is created in the image and likeness of God. Humankind is therefore a phase of God mind. And the individual mind must act like the original mind. Can you feel that? Can you accept yourself as a phase of God mind? You are an idea in the mind of God that has not left its source. I think that's A Course in Miracles. You are an idea in the mind of God, and you're never separate from it. You have not left your source. It's merely the outside and the trappings of this world that sometimes get us so distracted with that busy monkey mind that we forget the true mind. And the more we tap into that true mind, the more we can act like it and be it and manifest it. He said this, Charles said, study your own mind, and through it you will find God mind. In no other way can you get a complete understanding of yourself, of the universe, and of the law under which it is being brought forth. The law under which your mind is activating the outer world and manifesting a life, manifesting your life through the activity of your mind, through your beliefs, through your belief system, through your underlying knowing. That's metaphysics. Spirituality and metaphysics is what we're all about. Unity is a metaphysical theology. So I'd like to share that with you. There's a book that I took in my metaphysics class called Heart-Centered Metaphysics by Reverend Paul Hasselbeck. And he's talking about this metaphysics, right? What is metaphysics? Well, metaphysics is the study of things that are beyond physical, things that exist in the absolute reality, the absolute realm, that which is not visible to the eye but exists continuously ongoing is metaphysics. We study that because we want to understand the law of metaphysics so that we can manifest in the outer world that which we so desire to have. So heart-centered metaphysics has an ultimate goal, and this is what Reverend Paul Hasselbeck said. Here's the goal of metaphysics: to deeply realize the underlying unity and oneness of all. 2, to know and understand the principles and laws of ultimate reality, or God. 3, compassionately and lovingly apply and practice the principles and laws in our own lives. Notice I said compassionately, because we're going to find as we go and explore our own mind that sometimes we make mistakes and we get off track and we manifest and exhibit things that are not necessarily in alignment with the original mind. So we must be compassionate towards ourselves. And number 5, compassionately and lovingly see each and every person in the highest light. So we do this for others, as well as ourselves. Isn't that something? You do this for others as well? Recently, during this whole time of contemplating this, what's my vibe, I was in a position of needing to forgive something. Have you ever had to do that? No. Maybe once a day, maybe more. So I was holding on to something, I was holding on to a resentment, a hurtness, a feeling of sadness. I was holding it. And every time that imagery of that individual, that situation would arise, gosh, I was back on the merry-go-round. And I finally said to my husband, you know what, Jim? If I can't forgive, who can? I know these principles. What am I waiting for? The outside world to forgive? Can I not do it? If I can't do it, who can? Father Richard Rohr said something very similar, that spiritual transformation always occurs within the individual, within you and within me. We cannot wait for it to occur from the outside and filter in. It must come from within, and then it will move into the outer. And so every time that this situation and individual would come into my mind, I would pray. And I would offer it up. I would catch it. You must catch it first. And at least say, I'm willing to let this go. I'm willing. In Unity, they refer to something like this as pivotal consciousness. Have you ever heard of that? Pivotal? We're not talking about basketball, but pivoting. I thought this was really, really powerful. Pivotal consciousness is when our conscious mind can look in both directions. We can see where this is taking us. This thought pattern is going in this direction. And we can also see the higher self. We can see a different frame of reference. And don't we need that today in our world, my friends? Just even in the last few weeks, we have witnessed horrible suffering, terrible events, things that would fill our hearts with such sadness. And we're not denying that these things are not taking place in the world. But we can do something about it. We can shift our consciousness to elevate it and to bring love into it through our own mind. There was an article recently in a Unity magazine. I get this every 2 months. Joan Borisenko, a longtime author. I remember reading some of her material years ago. She was interviewed by the editor of Unity magazine, and her article was entitled Cultivating Resilience. She said this: "A simple tool that helps me keep my center is self-reflection, witnessing my state. I think of a scale from 1 to 100, where 1 is my most contracted, fearful, and separate self, and 100 is my most expanded, higher self. We all experience moving through this continuum, just noticing where we are and naming how we feel: angry, scared, depressed, resentful, helps us calm down. Psychiatrist Dan Siegel calls this simple tool of naming negative emotions, name it to tame it. It does help. It does help to name an emotion that you're going through, because in naming it, you recognize that it's not you. It's not the true you. It's an emotion that you're experiencing just in that moment. And when you shift or pivot your consciousness back into the truth of your divine nature, you can notice that that emotion lightens, or it tames, or you release it into God's hands. Whatever theology, whatever language works for you to let it go. Let it go. Some years ago, I remember going to a class. It wasn't a unity class. It was like it was called a sangha. I think that's how you pronounce. Just like a discussion group. And the leader would pose like a thought-provoking question, like a spiritual question. And we would have a circle, and we did meditation. But we went in our circle, and we talked about our response to that thought-provoking question. And as time went on, I realized there was this gentleman in the circle who was really smart. And he had all kinds of knowledge about psychology and sociology and aberrant human behavior, and books that were written, and authors that wrote them, and quotations which supported his underlying thesis, life thesis, that people are bad. And he would come every week, and whatever the question was, eventually it would trickle back to that underlying belief system. And while we were loving and compassionate in the circle, we were also expressing what our views were. And my view was, we are inherently good. We are inherently good. And he would look at me quizzically and go, "What? How can you think that? Don't you see what's taking place around?" And you know, I thought about it just this week writing this, and I realized something, that I was responding from my feeling, from my gut, from my instinct and my intuition. That was my feeling. This is the feeling I can't deny. I can't deny it. I firmly believe that we are all inherently good, that the seed of the Christ mind has been planted in our minds, and we're all awakening. And I would explain that. I would say, we're all awakening. Humankind is awakening now. And he would just shake his head and not really understand, because his mind was using supportive data, like the newspapers and the books. And I was reading St. Paul, that same letter. He said, "If I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, but I do not have love, I am nothing." I am nothing without that love. It has to come from inside. You have to have an inherent knowing that you are good and you have been brought here. You are an idea in the mind of God, and you exist for a purpose. And that purpose is to bring forth more love. St. Paul said, if I have faith to move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. And then he goes on to tell us, what are we really? What is love? Love is patient and kind. It is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. You ever been rude? I have. I know what that feels like. I don't want to be rude. I want to move back into my love. I want to open my heart to you and to everyone, to my family, to my friends, to people that I don't even understand how they can demonstrate what they're demonstrating, to people that I cannot understand their consciousness, what motivates them. There are people in the world doing things that I don't understand what motivates them. There is a mystery to it all that I can't fully understand. But what I can understand is that love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. Have we ever been irritable or resentful? Have you ever had to wait in line? It's a good time to practice. Love does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but it rejoices in truth. You know, in our society, we live in a litigation society. That's fine. Justice is served. We hope, we affirm that justice is served, right? There's a criminal justice system, and we witness people who are being brought to justice or have been brought to justice. But do you notice something? Do you notice how at times we dance around it, exclaim about it, rejoice that that individual was brought to justice? It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but it rejoices in truth. We have a tendency to pull wrongdoing out and to discuss it and bring it up and say, look at that. This is the truth. This is what we have going on in the world today. But we rejoice here. We rejoice in the inner knowing. And then Paul said, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. We do it. We're living it. We're walking the walk. We're talking and we're walking through the life that we have come here to be. You know, Jesus talked about this 2,000 years ago, teaching the same things to his followers. I'd like to perhaps share with you a few words from Jesus that were written by the author John 17. Jesus prayed for his disciples in this way. So this is a prayer that he is giving for his disciples. This is a prayer that he is giving to us now. This is an appropriate prayer. It is an eternal prayer. This is a prayer of remembering. He said this. Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory that I had in your presence before the world existed. There you are. Before the world existed, you existed in the mind of God. Sanctify them in the truth. Your word is truth. This is one of my favorite lines. They do not belong to the world, just as I do not belong to the world. See, we get caught in the world, but we don't belong to it. We belong to the mind of God. He said, the glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. This entire prayer reiterates oneness over and over and over again. I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Right? Jesus was not the exception. Jesus was the example to us. He's the way shower for us. He said, that which I do, you may do, and you will do it even better. Imagine that prediction. Perhaps he knew that we would be called upon in 2023 to do it even better, to bring this love that is in us already outward. He said this to the Father, I am not asking you to take them out of the world, but I ask you to protect them from the evil one. The evil one is our fear. The fear that manifests in us, the negativity, the doubt, the worry. All manifestations of fear are error thinking. In this term is called evil. He said, I'm not asking for you to take them out of the world. We came to experience this world. And isn't it fun? It is. We came to be in this world as you and as me, as your family, as your friends. He's not asking for us to check out. No, asking us to understand our oneness with the Father, with the divine mind that we are in our own mind. Tap in, connect. I'll leave you with one final quote. And this one is from Jack Kornfield. In the end, these things matter most. Questions for us to contemplate. How well did you love? How fully did you live? How deeply did you let go? I honor you. Namaste. Thank you.
I couldn't have predicted it all from your title, where you were going. How lovely, Maryann. How encompassing and useful. She's a treasure, isn't she? Well, we are led now to our prosperity practice. In Unity, we know that one of the ways we get in the flow of life is by contributing from our own good. And in this world, one of our symbols of good is what we carry around in our pockets, right? Our financial good. And this center operates because it has some bills to pay, and we want to contribute because we want to be in the flow of life. That's how we manifest our own good, by being in the flow. So I invite you to be part of this practice and reach into your heart and into your pocketbook, or perhaps you've given online, and for that we appreciate. But I really like giving it here. I like being in the flow and watching us come together, and I like the symbolism of it all. So I invite you to be part of this practice. And with your offering in your hand, say with me our blessing, our prosperity blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And just as our authors, our ushers, are collecting our offerings, we're going to have another song.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
We are so grateful for the many individuals who gave their time and their service. Our musicians are fabulous. Thank you for sending us in wonderful places. Thank you, Maryann, for all your work and your dedication to helping us grow and be who we really are. And I want to thank those behind the scenes who help with our broadcast, and our ushers and our board members. Anyone who gives to our center is part of who we all are, right? We look for ways to be and give. One of those things is our commitment campaign. And I know it's not the thing that's on the slide right now, but I wanted to mention it because it's part of, we're demonstrating that we are enough to pay our current bills, yeah? And that symbol right there is an effort to let us know that we had some extra things going on and we wanted to cover all our bases. And we are grateful to contribute and to be part of that. So it is growing. We're up to here. Our thermometer's growing.
Thank you all. Thank you.
And we want to continue to have a quality service every week and to be inspiring for you and for all those people that you come in contact with in your week so that you can be your best individual self. That's our goal. Okay, meanwhile, other announcements, and this sounds fabulous. There's a cacao ceremony coming up, and this is on Tuesday. It's an evening thing. It's Tuesday, September 12th, right here at 7 p.m., and it will involve sound healing. That's what those bowls are all about. And it will involve the ancient form of using the cocoa bean, the cacao, as an herb to elicit a spiritual response. Ancient peoples used this, and this woman, Violet, I suspect, is a practitioner. And she's coming here, and she'll help us with this interesting practice. So be advised. Look at more about it on the website. Sign up. And our next announcement is an invitation to prayer. Oh, I suspect this has to do with Unity World Day of Prayer, which is on September 12th, 13th, and 14th this year. And and it says, okay, in fine print, Wednesday, September 13th at 7 o'clock, we'll have a meeting here to do some prayer work, to open ourselves to be instruments of peace and prosperity for our neighborhood, for the world. So it's an extra opportunity for those of us who want to avail themselves. And again, it's just something that we want to offer. Thank you. And our next slide is about there's a Reiki share coming up on September 23rd. It's a Saturday from 1 to 3. So Reiki practitioners and others are invited to attend. The cost is $20 per person, and it will be facilitated by David Troutman, who's a known Unity practitioner, a known Reiki practitioner. And our next slide. And we just handled the commitment campaign. Thanks for listening. And a second time, that's to get in your consciousness, yeah? This talks about the monthly shortage that we were experiencing and asking for your help. And do we have another slide? Yes, a very important one. Today, we have an introduction to unity and designed for anyone who wants to come, but particularly if you have questions about what is unity, immediately following the service, or maybe around 12 o'clock. Maryann and I, mostly Maryann this month, will be offering a monthly kind of what's unity, what's the history, what are some of the aspects of unity you might want to cover, and what might you want to know. It will be a time to listen to the presentation and then perhaps ask some questions. And a love offering will be collected at the end of that. Also, we have volunteers that we need from time to time. We have a membership committee, if you feel inspired to act on that. We have a finance committee, an events committee, which operates and designs special fun things for us to do. There's a beautification committee. And if you feel inspired to do any of that, including the Sunday morning greeters, if someone greeted you today and helped you to a name tag, please consider that you might want to do that too. And I think that concludes our announcements, and I'm waiting for the slide to change. Maybe not. Well, I'm going to assume it concludes our announcements, yes. And let's stand and sing our peace song, yeah?
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
The light of God surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Amen. I invite you to take that inspiration that you felt today and greet your neighbor or someone that you haven't met before and start acting in the world right here in ways that you envision your perfect self to be. And so it is. And goodbye to those at home. Amen to all.